In 2023, a task force in California was put together to study the history of racism, discrimination, particularly in the state of California, and to come up with a bill, some form of recommendation for potential reparations for the African American community. And what was come up with was AB 3121, which is the task force to study and develop reparations proposals for African Americans. This was a significant development because prior to this, there was no real momentum being built in California, significant momentum being built in California around the conversation of reparations. So recently, specifically January 31st, the California Black Caucus introduced a reparations package based on the information that was recommended in this document, AB 3121. And this is what I want to discuss today with my followers and with the audience in general, with the community, with the world. So again, thank you all for tuning in and checking out this video. If this is your first time on the channel, I encourage you to listen. And if you like the content, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe, because we will be covering a lot of information similar to this. One thing I notice in certain spaces on YouTube is that there's an overemphasis on entertainment in some instances, particularly as it relates to our community, an overemphasis on entertainment, celebrity gossip, relationship advice, and this girl did this guy did that. And what's happened as a result of this is that we're not actually getting involved politically in terms of what's happening in our own backyard. Meanwhile, things may not be going in the direction that you want them to go. So if you don't get involved, or you're not at the very least informed, congratulations, you played yourself, okay? So we want to be involved, and I want to encourage people to be involved because ultimately this all impacts us, okay? So first of all, you may be asking yourself, who is the California Black Caucus, okay? So essentially, the California Black Caucus is a group of African-American members. That's what they say. They're a group of African-American members, but they're unfortunately not all African-American. But maybe this guy is African-American. Who knows? Is this an African-American? I don't know. Maybe he is. Who knows? But it says that they are a group of African-American members that focus on advocating for the interests of African-Americans and other underrepresented communities in California. Okay, it works to address and support legislation that supports or promotes social, economic, and educational issues, as well as matters of justice and equity that affect the Black community and other minority groups. So as you can see here, and I'll start at the bottom here and scroll up. Tina McNor, Lola Cuevas, okay. Mike Gibson, Reggie Sauer, okay. Mia Bonta, interesting. Christopher Holden, Dr. Corey Jackson, all right. Kevin McCarthy, Lori D. Wilson, Stephen Bradford, Isaac Bryan, and Dr. Akila Weber. All right. So this is the squad, okay? This is the team, the team that is pushing legislation for Black America in California. So why is this topic important to me? Well, I've said it once before, and I'll say it again. My father was born in 1927 in Beaumont, Texas. Growing up, I know, and I can remember explicitly and exclusively stories that my father told me in terms of things that he experienced growing up in the state of Texas back in the 40s, and the discrimination and the racial disparities that existed then still, in a lot of instances and in a lot of ways exist to this day, and have impacted and shaped the lives of all African Americans throughout the state of California and the United States as a whole. I'm very much so watering down his experience. It was oppression that led my father to flee the South and head out west. And it was the grace of God that allowed him to meet my beautiful mother, you know what I'm saying? And them get married, et cetera, and lead to the birth of myself and my family ultimately, right? but we're here today to discuss this, okay? So we're just going to talk about the bill, and then I'm going to save my thoughts for the recommendation to the end, okay? Because the bottom line is this. What we're looking for is reparations, right? This is what this task force was put together, or this group, in this case, the Black Caucus, is studying this bill to determine what form of reparations, what type of reparations bill should be constructed as a result of this study and their own opinions, et cetera, right? So first of all, we have to understand what we're talking about when we speak about reparations. Like, what is reparations, okay? So generally speaking, according to the definition, reparations is a way of repairing some ill or some wrong that has been done to a particular group of people. And in most instances, that involves cash payment. And as a matter of fact, we all understand that the United States of America has a history of paying reparations, right? And not just the United States. Reparations is a commonly known thing. It's not an uncommon thing for a government to do. I was actually doing a little bit of research on this, and you can look at this website here where they actually break down reparations in the United States, going all the way back to the 1900s, right? There's several incidents here of Indian reservations or Indian groups who received payment, cash payment, okay, as a result of oppression that they faced, right? One that we're all very much so familiar with is the Japanese reparations, right, where they received cash payment as a result of the oppression and the discrimination that they faced at the time that they experienced it. Okay, so these are all things that are taken into account. You can go down the list here. You're going to see over and over again, millions of billions, right? Millions, in some cases, billions of dollars of payouts, land, etc., right, is given to various groups of people as a form of reparations, right? And why is this so? Why is this so? This is so because an apology is not reparations, okay? And I want to make something clear here. But again, I said I was going to save my personal opinions for the end. So we'll first get into these 14 measures that they have introduced, okay? So this is it, okay? The California Legislative Black Caucus introduces 2024 reparations legislation package, okay? And this is the priority bill package, okay? Calling it historic, et cetera, right? And note here, it says, while many only associate direct cash payment with reparations, the true meaning of the word to repair involves much more. As laid out in the report, we need a comprehensive approach to dismantling the legacy of slavery and systematic racism, said Assemblywoman Lauren D. Wilson. I told y'all, right? Here she is. So Miss Wilson recognized that there was going to be pushback behind the fact that this bill does not include cash payment, right? But notice her choice of words. He says that that many only associate direct cash payment with reparations, right? The true meaning involves much more. So, Ms. Wilson, I have a couple of questions about this. So does the fact that much more is needed in terms of reparations mean that we should exclude cash payment? Because I believe that I would rather someone pay me reparations, pay me what you owe, rather than apologize for what you've done. Because a part of what you've suggested here is an official apology for the atrocities that have happened. But are you telling me that that should be prioritized over cash payment, right? And I believe the answer to that is no. Again, I would rather have somebody show me with your mouth what you mean, rather than tell me what you want me to believe. Because a symbolic apology means nothing. I'd rather you give me your apology than talk your apology. In other words, what I'm trying to say is that I don't believe that this comprehensive approach to dismantling the legacy of slavery, as she puts it, should exclude cash payment. In fact, I believe that the cash payment is actually the most important piece, but I told you I wasn't going to get into it, but I'm going to finish my statement. I believe that the cash payment is the most important piece of legislation regarding reparations. And I'm going to get into why I think they didn't include this and some other things as well, too. Okay, so let's just keep going. Okay. So obviously, Miss Wilson got some major pull with regards to this group, right? She's the first person shown here, and she's the first person who's mentioned here, right? So that is telling you what? That's telling you that she is the top. She's the spokesface, the spokesperson. She's the top dog, okay? With her dreads, you know what I'm talking about? She the top dog. Okay, let's get into it. So here, as a result of the historic study of California Reparations Task Force on the negative impacts of Jim Crow-style laws brought to California, the California Legislative Black Caucus will present its first set of bills based upon the recommendations set forth in the task force final report. It's of importance for me to note that the task force who came up with AB 3121 did recommend cash payments. If I'm not mistaken, they were talking about $300-something thousand for every family that can prove that you are a descendant of or a portion of a member of this descendant of slave group, okay, African Americans more specifically, okay. That was what they recommended, a part of it, but it was left out of these 14 measures. So let's go ahead and talk about this, right? So here's another woman speaking here. Secretary of State, Dr. Shirley Weber. Actually, she's not in the California Black Caucus, but she did mention here, as the author of AB 3121, I am pleased that the California Legislative Black Caucus has picked up the baton and is moving the state forward in addressing the recommendations delivered to them 7 months ago. I am optimistic and encouraged by the work and look forward to amazing and groundbreaking outcomes. The nation is waiting for us to lead. And as California always does, we will lead in addressing a delayed justice called reparations. So let's get into these 14 measures, okay? Because to me at this point, that sounds like a bunch of political word gameplay that they're talking about. So let's now get into the specifics of what this is, because that's what's most important. I don't care about you making it sound good and all this mumbo jumbo, right? Our history is real. So, and we hundreds of years late. So can we please skip the mumbo jumbo and the political talk, and let's talk about what we're going to do. So here are the 14 measures. AB 1929, expand access to career technical education by creating a competitive grant program to increase enrollment of descendants of slaves in STEM-related CTE programs at the high school and college levels. And I'm going to do both. I'm going to do the section, then I'm going to give my opinion. The second is career educational financial aid for redlined communities. So the idea of this comprehensive approach, right? And education being a portion of this comprehensive approach. Okay. So what if you're not interested in STEM? Right? What if I'm not interested in STEM? What if I want to be a plumber, blue collar? Right? What if I want to work at, what if my situation dictates that I got to work at Walmart or some other place, right? Or I want to go to school for something else. I'm not interested in STEM, right? So what are we talking about? Okay. Career financial aid for redline communities. What if my family's not in a redline community? What if I don't want to go to college? So when we as African Americans went through this 244-year event called slavery, followed by another 7,500 years of Jim Crow and all kinds of other crap, and up until this day, still facing discrimination, like I talked about in my last video, discrimination in the hiring process, which is still going on to this day. Okay. These things were not limited to a particular segment of Black people, right? This was something that everyone faced as a result of government policy that dictated that Black people would be slaves in America, that there would be a slave class. So when I hear these things being talked about, I'm not suggesting that they're not good. These are great ideas, and I think that we should have these things. But this ain't reparations. This is not reparations. This is help, but this isn't reparations. I want to say something, and I want to make this very clear. No deal is better than a bad deal. Why is that? Because the world is watching. The world is watching. So if the world sees, and I'm talking about Black people all over the world, if the world sees that we as African Americans, and not just African Americans, but African Americans in California, which is supposed to be one of the most progressive states in the United States of America and in the world, if they see that we are willing to take a lackluster deal, then you have just set a precedence for Black people all over the world to continue to get lackluster deals and to continue to get the same type of treatment that they've been getting. So it's very important for the Reparations Task Force, for the Black Caucus to understand that, number one, this is not a game. Our history is not to be played with. Our history is too real for people to be shook and jiving and concerned with the opinions of others. In other words, there seems to be a clear hesitancy to do what's right for Black people, specifically because they don't want to offend other groups of people who are already showing that they are not in favor of reparations. So one way that I gauge the effectiveness and the reach of this reparations bill is based on the response of people who don't want you to get reparations, right? Because we got haters out there. And if your haters ain't talking about this deal that we're getting, then what that probably means is that we got a pretty bad deal. But I'm going to keep going so y'all understand. Civil rights. Amends the California Constitution to allow the state to fund programs for the purpose of increasing the life expectancy of, improving educational outcomes for, or uplifting out of poverty specific groups. Specific groups? I thought this was reparations. Why is there any ambiguity? And to be more specific, if we're talking about reparations, this should realistically be for African descendants of slaves in America, not just any Black people. I'm going to keep it 1,000 because that is the group that's supposed to be targeted and supposed to get their reparations first. ADOS. So when we start giving this type of jargon, specific groups, they already showing you they're about to do a civil rights bait and switch, where what happens is our people become the symbolic sacrifice for the whole country, right? So instead of us getting what we're supposed to get, instead of people making sure that we get what we get, specific groups. Oh, so everybody comes to the table and gets to eat off of our suffering and benefit from our legacy of trauma, instead of the people who are supposed to be representing us actually doing that and making sure that we get served first. And let me explain something about this. If the Black Caucus, if the California Black Caucus isn't the one to do this, then who's going to do it? If they don't represent the people, then do the people have representation? That's a question. Formally recognizes and accepts responsibility for all the harms and atrocities committed by representatives of the state who promoted, facilitated, enforced, and permitted the institution of chattel slavery. What does that mean? Like, when you say formally recognize and accept responsibility, like, what does that mean? Why are we taking baby steps here? Why are we taking baby steps? Like, you think they don't know that? You think they don't know, ma'am? Sir? They know what they've done to us. And the reason why the bully can bully is because people don't stand up to the bully. So when you stand up, when you halfway stand up to the bully, he don't respect that. This is what y'all don't understand. So y'all sit up there, right? You sit up there in your fancy suits, beautiful dresses, beautiful smiles. Everybody's so happy. You know what I'm saying? You got your pins on, your US government flag behind you, your bow ties. Are you sure you represent the people? Are you sure that you really represent the people? You understand it's a privilege to represent the people. Are you sure you really represent the Black community in the state of California? Or are you a liaison, like a spokesperson? Okay, yeah, you represent the Black community to your higher ups, but are you putting the interests of your higher ups above the interests of the people that you're supposed to be serving? That's a question. If they're not mad, you're probably not doing your job right. You understand that our history and what we need is in direct opposition to some of the ideals of this country. But that's the platform you stepped into. It's like a cop who gets out there on the job and gets scared on the job to the point where he either A, can't do his job, or B, use excessive force in the carrying out of his responsibilities. And oh my God, I feared for my life because I had to catch a crook. You signed up for that job, sir. The expectation is that you're going to walk through the fire, you're going to walk through the danger of what comes with being in that position. Not sit there and look at your badge. Oh man, look at this shiny badge. Yeah, I'm that guy. I got this gun. I got this power. Huh. What I need to get out of this car and go deal with that junkie for? Let me pick up, where my donuts at? Y'all understand what I'm saying? Do you really hear me though? This is dirty work, bro. So when I see these folk looking like this, y'all too clean. You're too clean. I need some people who gonna be willing to get in the trenches. And what I'm seeing from this language, you not in the trenches at all, fam. You nowhere near them trenches. Not for the people. Oh no. But we just gonna keep going. Prohibit discrimination based. This is AB 1815, Weber. Prohibit discrimination based on natural or protective hairstyles in all competitive sports by extending the Crown Act to explicitly include competitive sports within California. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Passing laws to prevent discrimination is not reparations. Those things are miles apart. Passing a law saying that something is wrong does not repair the wrong that's already been done to the people who've been wrong. That's not reparations. This is great, but it should not be a part of our reparations bill. See, y'all aiming too low. I'm gonna put it in plain English. You're aiming way too low. And let me figure this out. Let me understand this, right? These people, all of y'all are educated. All of y'all got degrees. All of y'all have done great things in your life. It ain't normal for you to set the bar low because you don't set the bar low for yourself. So why y'all setting the bar for the people so low here? Why are we talking about prohibiting discrimination based on particular hairstyles in a reparations bill? That's not a sign to you that y'all going the wrong direction, that you're shooting too low? I'm asking because this doesn't make sense. For this to be here, bruh, this this ain't it. This is telling me y'all shooting way low. Like, who's really gonna be? I'm not saying that the people who are impacted by this are not important, but what would have been better language would have been for those who have been discriminated against, cash payment of XYZ amount of dollars. Oh, and maybe they've already done that in the civil court. Who knows? But that's not important. The important part is the money. It's gonna keep it 1,000. Like, if somebody go to your house right now and steal from you and rob you and beat up your kids or something, you don't give a damn if society passes laws that say that beating on children and breaking into a house is illegal. That's not what you care about. That's great. And I'm great that you're passing the law to say that what happened to me is illegal and wrong. But that's not reparations, fam. Reparations is that fool who did that thing to me need to come make and repay everything that he gave, that he took, and pay a fine and a fee on top of that for doing wrong. That's what this is, bro. It's not enough to say, oh, well, it's wrong, and we're passing laws to say it's wrong. That ain't it. That's the civil rights movement, the civil rights bills. Those are not reparations. Those are laws to an evil and wicked society, making it illegal to do wicked things. That does not address what has been done wrong to the people who are already impacted. So again, Black Caucus, are you really looking out for the people? Who is this law really for? Who is this really for? I'll read on. Property takings. Restore property taken during race-based uses of eminent domain to its original owners, or provide another effective remedy where appropriate, such as restitution or compensation. Y'all say that in the nicest way possible. I told you, racism is a bully. You're not gonna beat the bully with this soft language, y'all. I'm gonna keep it 100. You're not the bully looking at you laughing. Like you still don't get it. You gotta stand up and fight for yourself. Now this is cool though. This is all right, right? But here's the thing. The only cash or compensation I see anywhere in anything we've talked about is in this instance. So what about what they took from us with regards to our dignity? Is our dignity not worth compensation? Is our dignity not worth compensation? Is our dignity not worth more than some damn land that was stolen? Fam, y'all not thinking deep enough about what's going on and about what needs to be done. And for y'all to be sitting up here talking about, oh, we represent the people and all this. No. For y'all to miss that mark so blatantly, how y'all miss the mark? It's like, yo, y'all supposed to be the elite group. You know, you're supposed to be the Navy SEALs of the legal system representing the Black community. And you show up to the door of the terrorists and you get to playing games and stuff, and you acting like you don't know what to do. I thought you trained for this. No, you should have stayed home. Stay home. And matter of fact, give your spot to someone who's really about that business. That's what needs to happen. Because I'm going to tell you this. For there to be individuals like myself and several other African-American content creators and other people around the world who feel the same way I do about these 14 amendments, for that to be the case, y'all should know, like, y'all fell short. Like, y'all fell short. Keep going. This is the one that's like ridiculous. Another ridiculous one. right? Issues a formal apology for human rights violations and crimes against humanity on African slaves and their descendants. Issue an apology. So now my dignity is worth tokens. You gonna compensate the people with tokens. What the hell I'm gonna do with these tokens, ma'am? I can't spend this nowhere. I can't spend your I'm sorry nowhere. I'm sorry don't mean nothing. Imagine if the crick that I talk about who breaking into the house and done beat up your kids and stole from you. Yeah, you need to take responsibility and accountability for what happened, sir. Whatever that means, God knows, right? Are you going to jail? Listen, we'll determine that later. And issue an apology. Take responsibility and issue an apology. Fam, I'm going to be honest. Y'all should be outraged. Y'all should be outraged. For you to even put this in here, for them to even recommend this without also talking about compensation is a slap in the face of the whole black community, bro. I'm going to keep it 1,000. I'm going to keep it all the way real with you. This is a slap in the face of black America. Black Caucus. Now, I'm gonna keep it real. AB 3121, they did their thing. They did it righteously. These people, y'all 14 members or whoever, however many y'all is, you failed us. You failing. I'm just going to be honest. And you know, to keep it 100, this whole article, which is by that group, this is their website, it started on some BS. We started on some BS. Look at this. It started with this comment by her, setting the table, setting the tone for what's about to happen. So, hey, God bless you, sis, but you foul. You wrong. You're wrong. And the people shouldn't accept this. You're supposed to be here to serve us. We're not here to serve you. We're not here to be like, oh, well, Miss Wilson, oh, you just Miss Boss Wilson. This ain't about you, Miss Wilson. This ain't about none of y'all. This is about the people. It's about history. This is about our legacy. This is about what they're going to say 100 years from now. And for these folk to be sitting up here, look at the smile on this woman. Y'all already know, like, it's ego. It's an ego thing for y'all. This ain't about y'all not serving the people. You can feel it coming off of them. It's ego. It's not service. Don't keep it 100. Let's continue. Formal apology. Some words. We're sorry. I'm sorry. Next. Now this is some more stuff. Criminal justice reform. Amend the California Constitution to prohibit involuntary servitude of incarcerated persons. This is good, but all black people ain't criminals. This is good, but this ain't reparations. This is criminal justice reform. That's not reparations, bro. Imagine I'm the governor. I'm the governor of California. And they put this bill on my desk and they say this is reparations. Oh shit, I'm signing this crap. But before I sign it, I gotta go back to the Black Caucus and be like, are you sure this is all you want? I'm not gonna say it in those exact words, but like, are you sure? So I need people to understand this. Y'all are the Black Caucus. And the governor of the state, who ain't black, gonna look at the bill that you proposed for reparations and say, he gotta go back to you like, are you sure? Are you sure? That in itself should tell you, you failed. You failed. I'm smiling, but this ain't funny. Criminal justice reform. Eliminate the CDCR practice of banning books without oversight and review. What do this got to do with slavery and reparations? Nothing at all. Fund community-driven solutions to decrease community violence at the family, school, and neighborhood levels. Listen, how about you just give money give the cash payment so the people can be relieved of their day-to-day stress. Y'all didn't even get creative. Like, yo, earned income credit, like, okay, down payment assistance on a home buyers program, tax relief. Like, y'all didn't even get creative. You're talking about funding community-driven solutions. What is that? To decrease violence? Like, you don't understand what causes violence? What causes violence and disarray is a lack of opportunity, a lack of progress. Poverty, in a lot of instances, is the catalyst. No opportunity is a catalyst to war, rebellion, resistance. I'm just going to read on. Mandela Act, restrict solitary confinement within CDCR detention facilities. Again, this does not apply specifically to Black people, and this is not reparations. And I know a lot of Black folks is, you know, the main ones on death row, whatever, da, da, da. I get it. But this ain't reparations. It's cool if that's what you believe in, but that's not reparations. Health. Make medically supportive food and nutrition interventions when deemed medically necessary by healthcare providers, a permanent part of Medi-Cal benefits in California. What this got to do with reparations? What does have to do with Black people? This is where you get into that people of color stuff, right? This is where you get into these situations where, well, we need to get all people on board with what we're trying to do for Black people so that we can get the law passed. So let's throw something in there for them so that we can get our law. Do y'all understand the weak psychology behind that? Like, ma'am, you don't understand that they're not going to support it? Like, you don't understand that trying to get reparations passed is not going to be supported by other groups of people? You don't understand that? Instead, you're going to try to throw something in there to help to get them to buy in. So this is my perspective on all of that. And if you're like, oh, well, I know, but I'm just trying to get this done. Okay, here's my thing, ma'am. I'd rather you do it right and they say no than you do it wrong and they laugh in your face and say, sure, pass. You don't understand that? Listen, my dignity is not worth no, you can't buy my dignity with trinkets. Like y'all trying to trade dignity for trinkets. It's got to be right. And I said this a long time ago, reparations got to be done all the way right or not at all. Or not at all. Again, no deal is better than a bad deal as it relates to this, because our respect, our honor, our dignity, our reputation is on the line. This is the facts. That's the facts. Address food injustice by requiring advance notification of community stakeholder prior to, this ain't got nothing to do with no reparations, man. And then business, of course. Eliminate barriers to licensure for people with criminal records. All Black folks don't have criminal records. Expansion of AB 2138 to prioritize African-American applicants seeking occupational licenses, especially those who are descendants. Why don't this talk about the big issue, which is the wealth gap in America? This is the thing. I'm going to say this, then I'm going to get up out of here. The purpose of slavery was to make some folks wealthy. The purpose of them enslaving Blacks, going to war to try to keep Black folks enslaved, was so that they could fatten their pockets because it was making them a lot of money. The primary catalyst for slavery is money. So now you telling me that this person that went up in your house, kidnapped your daughter, kidnapped your children, pimped them out, and made trillions of dollars. Now it's time for them to pay reparations. And we ain't talking about a cash payment. We're talking about food services and hair bills and occupational licenses. Prioritizing. No. Terrible. I'm on a scale from 1 to 10, right? With 10 being I'm very well pleased, and this is exactly what we should have gotten. and one being like, throw this in the trash, bro, I gotta get it's like a 2.5. I'm like maybe three. It ain't a four. And we should do a survey on that. Like, y'all should be like, this is the thing, right? Shouldn't the Black Caucus care about how the majority of African Americans feel about what they're proposing? Like, they represent us. Shouldn't they care what our input is? This is not excellence. This is not acceptable. This is not it. This ain't it. And as someone who is close to my history, close to my roots, but also successful in my personal life, I can tell you without any shadow of doubt, no deal is better than a bad one. No deal is better than a bad one. So what I'm going to do here is this, all right? I will be writing a handwritten letter. That's what I should do, is a handwritten letter and send this, okay? Here's the information, the contact information for the California Legislative Black Caucus. It's on their website, but here it is, okay? They're in Sacramento, of course. You can follow them on Instagram or Twitter. Here's their email information and their phone number. I highly, highly, highly recommend that if you all want to get involved and let your voice be heard to this group who is not doing right by us, that at least in this instance, okay, I'm not going to spit on their face or whatever, but at least in this instance, contact them. Let your voice be heard. Let your voice be heard. I believe that they're more so concerned with trying to appease others than they are their own community. And maybe this is for the sake of their own political career, or maybe they could be in bed with the children of those who enslaved us to the point where they work for somebody else. So they're not really putting our needs first. I don't know. But what I do know is that these 14 measures, it ain't but one of them or two of them that I'll actually look at and say that that's borderline reparations, but it's really only reparations for some who fit certain criteria. This is not across the board reparations for our people who collectively went through all this suffering. So how do you get this education? You got this high level education, but when it comes time for you to use that education to help your people, you just throw us under the bus. You just aim so low. It's so disrespectful. It's so disrespectful. I would love to hear your comments on this. Like, share, subscribe, fam. Comment below. Tell me what you think. Till we chat again, it's Urban Politics, and I'm checking out. Deuce.